This time every year, I start to feel it. The garden has been producing nonstop for months, and what once felt exciting and fresh now, honestly, is starting to feel like a chore. I catch myself getting burnt out, and it's so tempting to just let things pile up or even go to waste. But I remind myself this is the season I prayed for back in February when I was staring at seed catalogs. This is the payoff of all of the planting, watering, and weeding, and before long, it's going to be winter. The garden beds will be empty, the shelves will be lined, and I'll be wishing I could walk outside and pick my dinner. So even though it feels overwhelming right now, I'm trying really hard not to be wasteful, to see every tomato, every zucchini, every pepper as a blessing, to savor this season. Because grocery shopping the garden, that's something I will miss deeply when the season is over. So if you're feeling the same burnout, know that you're not alone. Take a breath, pick what you can, preserve what you're able to, and enjoy the gift of right now. Because soon we'll all be flipping through seed catalogs again, dreaming of this very moment. Hey friends, I'm Bree from 6 Hearts on 6 Acres. I'm so incredibly glad to have you here on the channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you a few recipes that I've made this week that help me just continue to use all of the produce that's coming in from the garden, and some produce that I have stored on the shelves in the pantry, like my onions. This first recipe that I am sharing with you is a smoked salmon recipe. I got the inspiration for this recipe from Ina Garten's melting onions recipe, and it was incredible. It had so much flavor. So all I did was season up that salmon with Italian seasoning, salt and pepper, garlic, threw it on the smoker until it reached 160 degrees and it was nice and flaky. And I melted down these onions in some butter, and then I put some frozen cherry tomatoes that I had and some garlic, and just let it all cook together and turn into this delicious sauce. And then I chopped that salmon with some fresh dill from the garden, and I wish you guys could taste it through the screen. It was so good. I just served this with some really simple sides. We just did some sautéed zucchini that I seasoned up, and some brown rice that I cooked in my Instant Pot. That is the absolute best, easiest way to cook rice that I have found. Just throw it in there. For brown rice, you do about 20 minutes. I like to put it in with some broth, salt, pepper, garlic, and then you have the perfect, balanced, healthy meal.
Can I get that piece?
We live on a farm here on 6 acres. We have cattle all around us. And if you have been watching me anytime at all, you are constantly watching me swat away flies or listening to me complain about the ridiculous amount of fruit flies. So today I'm so excited to share with you the sponsor of this video, and that is Wowcatch. Wowcatch is a product that naturally, with no chemicals or anything harmful, catches the fruit flies and the flies. I have evidence here. Look at how many it has caught. So disgusting, I know, but it works. The light in here is a blue light. It shines 24/7, and it's simple to plug in, and it attracts those bugs to that sticky trap. Wowcatch uses a scientifically proven wavelength with the LED light that attracts flying insects. It doesn't have any nasty chemicals or odors, so it's safe for your children and your pets. It doesn't make any noise at all, so it's not going to be annoying. And right now it's on sale for less than $20. So you can have this discreet flying insect catcher plugged into your kitchen, or you can have one of those nasty yellow sticky fly traps hanging down. I don't know about you, but I definitely choose the Wowcatch. So thank you so much to Wowcatch for sponsoring today's video. I am going to go throw this nastiness in the trash, and I bet this is going to be filled up probably in a week or so, because it is just that season where I have windows open. It's cooling down outside, and I will take a few flies in the house to have some fresh air. My Instant Pot is a workhorse in this kitchen, and tonight we are using it to put together a big batch of black beans. These are loaded with onions and all different kinds of peppers. I think I have some poblanos and some bells and some black peppers in there. You can use whatever you have coming in your garden, and you could also put some spicy ones in as well if that's your thing. This also has lots of fresh oregano and cumin, salt, pepper, and garlic. And then I am using an entire quart for 1 pound of beans of my canned beef broth. I cook these on high pressure for 45 minutes, and you will get the most delicious, inexpensive, easy pot of beans that you have ever had. I'm going to serve these with some barbecue chicken thighs that I am going to coat in my peach barbecue sauce that we canned this summer. This stuff is amazing, and I will be sure that it does not ever run empty on my shelves because we love it so much. And then it's also going to be served with a side of jalapeno cheddar cornbread. Again, using up those jalapenos from my garden because they are so productive right now. And as you can tell, they are red. I told you guys I am getting burnt out. And so I have a whole bunch of red jalapenos that I have just left on the vine to deal with. That is okay. They have almost a citrusy flavor at this point, but they are still pretty spicy. I only used 2 small jalapenos in this entire batch of cornbread. I like to make my cornbread on a griddle, kind of like pancakes. I find that I like the texture better. It's not as crumbly as like a cornbread muffin or a baked cornbread. I do those occasionally too, but this is our favorite way to have them. And bonus points, it's a lot quicker to do it this way. I will make sure to put all of the recipes in the description below if you would like to make any of these recipes, as well as link the video to this peach barbecue sauce. If you have some great recipes to use up a whole bunch of hot peppers, send them my way. I have tons of red jalapenos and sugar rush peach peppers, but my basement shelves are already lined with multiple different kinds of hot sauces, and so I really don't want to do that. I may just end up freeze drying them, but I would love to hear how you guys are using them. Isaac? It's a new day, and I'm still working on incorporating all of the garden produce into every meal I make. My days, and in turn, my family's days, go so much smoother when I have grab and go options ready for breakfast and for lunch. Today, I had the idea to make some homemade Hot Pockets. I'm going to do 2 flavors, a breakfast one and a lunch one. They both have the same dough though, so I am mixing up a double batch of dough to start out with because it does have to chill in the fridge for a while. So for the barbecue chicken Hot Pockets, I sauteed up a bunch of peppers and onions from the garden. I added in some chicken thighs, a little bit of barbecue rub, and some of my homemade barbecue sauce. You don't want to put in too much though, because you definitely don't want a soggy Hot Pocket. Hot Pockets are one of those things where you can get super creative and really tailor these to fit whatever your tastes are. You could make so many different versions or varieties. So take inspiration from what you can purchase at the store. What do they have? Like the pepperoni ones, they have the Philly cheesesteak, they have the ham and cheese. You could use those flavors and add in whatever additional veggies or meats that you want to use, but you can also really customize this to fit whatever your family makes. You could make like a taco style one. You could do like a ham cheese omelet version. You could do barbecue chicken like I did here. You can really just let your brain go wild and make whatever flavors you would love. While my dough and my filling were chilling, I went ahead and got started on my breakfast Hot Pockets. I wanted the base of these to be eggs, but since my chickens are molting and not laying much right now, I pulled out my freeze-dried egg stash for the very first time, and I was really impressed with these, you guys. I rehydrated them with a 1 to 1.5 ratio of warm water, and I cooked them up with the peppers and onions and added in some leftover sausage gravy that I had left over from the day before, and this filling was delicious. I think from this point on, as long as my chickens aren't laying very well, I'm getting like 1 to 3 eggs a day. For any of my baked goods, I'm going to be replacing my fresh eggs with my freeze-dried because I freeze-dried about 100 eggs this summer and I want to use them up over the winter so that way when spring comes and I have a surplus of eggs again, I will do the exact same thing and then I will just continue to use them up over the winter. I don't think that I want to store them long term. You can, like freeze-dried foods are supposed to be good for 20 years. But the thought of that kind of grosses me out a bit. So I will be using all of my freeze-dried eggs this winter. When everything had cooled off, I rolled out the dough, separated it into 8 equal-ish portions. I am not an exact person by any means. And then I loaded these up and rolled them up. I was trying to make them look like a Hot Pocket, but that was a lot harder than it looks. And so I ended up making them look more like empanadas. But they worked out just fine. And I had one of these for lunch this day, and they were absolutely delicious. The recipe said to chill these before you bake them, but I don't know who has time for that. Definitely not me. So they went straight into the oven and I didn't have any issues. I brushed the top of these Hot Pockets just with some milk, and then the barbecue chicken ones, I threw some of the barbecue rub on top and then topped with parsley. And for the breakfast ones, I just topped with the milk and the parsley. These just added a little bit of color and made them really pretty. I didn't have quite as much filling as I did with the chicken, so I did just 6 of these instead of 8. And I was able to actually like wrap the dough all the way around. So when I make this recipe again, that's how I'm going to be separating my dough, is just into 6 Hot Pockets instead of 8. I am using my freeze-dried parsley here. You can see how beautiful and bright green it is compared to like dehydrated parsley. But I am wishing that I would have done so much more because I have already almost used this whole jar. So next year I'm going to make sure to freeze dry multiple jars of the parsley. I planted zucchini in my garden for the fall, and it is doing so much better than it did for me this summer. You can see I have a giant one here that I missed. I actually have a few of these to use up. And I am harvesting multiple zucchini per day. So go ahead and drop your favorite zucchini recipes in the comments below for me. I have been doing lots of zucchini pickles because we absolutely love those. Eating it baked, eating it sauteed, and then today I am doing my kids' favorite way to eat zucchini, which is in baked goods. I'm going to make up just some really quick and easy zucchini muffins to have as another grab and go option for their after school snack or for their breakfast, either one. These are super simple to throw together and only dirty up one bowl. And if you're like me and you are out of brown sugar and didn't feel like mixing some up, you can just throw a little bit of molasses in with your white sugar and it works perfectly. I love this recipe because for a lot of like zucchini muffins or zucchini breads, you have to squeeze all of the moisture out of the zucchini. And I just find that to be annoying and an extra step that I don't typically feel like doing. And with this recipe, you didn't have to do that. It accounted for the extra moisture that you would have. So that was really nice. Thank you guys so much for spending your day with me as I worked in the kitchen the last couple days. I hope that I shared a few recipes that will help to inspire you to use up what is coming out of your garden and to not get completely burnt out. I will see you in the next video, and until then, may God bless.